What's going on, people? It's your man HLeeThat'sMe coming at you today on Facebook Live on another Thinking Out Loud Thursday. My topic for Thinking Out Loud Thursday today is what's going to happen after November 3rd. Right now we are in the election of our lives right now. Very important election. Now, everybody doesn't feel that way. Some people feel like, you know, it's not going to change things. Others may feel like it's a life and death situation. Let's really, really think about it. I always like to look at the worst case scenario. Worst case scenario and this is from our, people who are voting against Trump. Because clearly, the people who are voting for Trump don't feel like they feel the opposite. Where we feel like it's a life and death, maybe so important in life and death and situation. I say life and death. Is it really life and death? Because if Trump was to win, the people who are not for him are going to be upset. It's like 4 more years. And don't get me wrong, you have those who really feel like it's a life and death situation. I feel the chaos will continue. But now you have those who are voting for him who don't feel that way. They feel that what will basically, in my opinion, what's happening now is what's going to happen, is how they feel will happen. Which I don't get that dynamic, so to speak, but they feel like things will be worse under a Biden administration. We are in some interesting times. Wait, side note, I just want to bring attention to my other fitted. I pulled this one out. This is my first time actually wearing this one, okay? Tell you, my collection is a little deep. I didn't realize, not as deep as some others who, matter of fact, I'm going to be interviewing some people in the fitted community. That's going to be my next podcast. Talk to some brothers that are really, really deep into it, way more than I am, and it's going to be enlightening. So stay tuned. That's going to be on the HLeeThat'sMe podcast. It's going to be the fitted lifestyle episode on YouTube. And those who haven't subscribed yet on my YouTube channel, HLeeThat'sMe TV, subscribe, because a lot of you were so happy and kicking and screaming, happy to be clicking and liking for the Mrs. and getting her to 100 comments and shares and all that kind of stuff. Everybody was on board with her. I want to see that same kind of love on my YouTube channel. Okay, I want to see the same kind of love, like and shares on this Facebook Live. Same kind of love. Her goal was to get 100 likes and comments and such and shares. So this way to have me be her maid for a week, okay? Y'all had no problems doing that. So now I want to see that same kind of love. Leah, what's going on, lady? Glad to see you here. I want to see that same kind of love on my YouTube. Please, on the Facebook page, like, share. Come over to the YouTube channel, because I'm going to be moving more and more over to YouTube. I'm going to be posting these things on YouTube. It's going to be more and more. I'm taking it to that platform. So please come along, share, join me, come along on the journey. But going back to what I was saying before about this election, is it really what we're going to do after November 3rd? I like to look at both sides, okay? I make no bones, no mistake. People who know me, if you've been watching me, following me, you know that I am not a Trump supporter. I am definitely the opposite. I don't like the things he says. I don't like some of the things he's done. Yeah, I'm trying to make it do what it should be done. Trying to put the word out and just, let my voice be heard. But, it's this is my opinion. I don't like the things that he's done, the way he acts. This is how I feel. Now, you have others who feel the opposite. They You have those who either A, they like how he's doing, what he's doing, and they love it, or you have those who they like his policies, what he believes, what he represents, the policies he represents. Okay, they like that. They don't really care for his rhetoric, things he says, but they like what he represents in terms of policies. For me, everybody's entitled to their opinion. I just said this earlier to the Mrs. I said because let me backtrack a little bit. I had a conversation with a longtime friend of mine yesterday, and we talked, and as I suspected, he's a Trump supporter. Well, yeah, he's a Trump supporter. He's actually an independent. He's not running on a particular party. He's an independent. He's white. I know him. I've known him for years. I know he's not a racist. He's not at all. He says it. He says he wishes Trump wouldn't say some of the things he says. Now, and what makes it even more so poignant is that he has been around Trump. And here's my thing, and this is what made me really start thinking about things in another light, so to speak. I've never met the man. I've never been around Trump. I've never met him. This is somebody who's been around him. He's been around Trump. He's around, years ago. Okay. So he's going to have he has a different perspective. He's like, look, he's not racist. Trump's not racist. He knows, he goes back to a time when, he's been at functions and stuff with Trump, and Trump has been around other black folks and stuff like that. Fine. I would suggest that the Trump he knew then, the Trump he knows now, or, it's hard to argue, it's hard to debate with somebody who's been, that's like, for instance, Aaliyah, I'm going to use you as an example. I know you. Now, yeah, granted, I haven't seen you in years, but I know, I've spent time around you. I've talked to you. I know you. And unless there was a huge difference of a change, what there has been, because, the last time I saw you, that we got together, it was when you came to New York. That was about, what, 2007, 8, somewhere around there, I think, maybe 9. No, 10, somewhere around there, because I know I was living out in Medford. Was I? I don't remember. But anyway, now, Aaliyah, we hadn't seen each other since high school. I saw you then. We was catching up. I still saw the same person from talking to you and whatever. You were saying the same person that I knew from back in 85, 84, 85. Okay? Yeah, you've had life experiences, and they may change you to a degree, and we mature and all that kind of stuff, and your experiences can shape you, but the core person that I knew was still there. I've never known you to be racist, never known you to be any of those, anything negative. So if somebody was to come to me now and say, hey, listen, Aaliyah Lyon, she's a racist and this, that, I'm like, no, I could say that. No. So, but now if you're out in the public and you're saying things and you're doing things, well, I still would have to go back to the person that I know, Aaliyah that I know wasn't racist. Now, how you portray, how you view and what you say currently in the public and things of that nature, if that's taken in the racist tones and text and concepts, well, then, But anyway, I say all this to say that I told the person, who I was having a conversation with, that, I don't like what he said. I can't say I know him because I don't. I've never been around him. But I can say I don't like the things he continues to say. I don't like what he represents. I don't like, in action speak, I agree, especially as a leader, right, and that's the difference. He's a leader of the world. He's not a leader of a state. He's not a leader of a county. He's a leader of a country, the United States of America. In any case, but the thing is, and this is the difference, though, that I think, and my wife and I, we talked about this. This is the thing that stands out for me as a defining point amongst Trump supporters. It's one thing, and I know a couple people who voted for Trump, whatever, and I don't knock them. I don't knock anybody. I don't hate anybody. I don't knock anybody for voting for Trump. You vote for who you want, because that's just like, it's just like a Christian, a Catholic saying, you know what, I don't like the Baptist. The Baptist, I don't like them. Or a Baptist saying, I don't like, Muslim. Or the Catholics versus Muslims and all that kind of stuff. Listen, everybody's free to worship as how they, the Jewish faith community, with Jews. I think it's ridiculous. Everybody is allowed to worship, to choose the religion that they wish to choose. The problem is when you feel, and this is what wars have been fought over and stuff, is when you try to impose your beliefs onto others, no, you have to believe what I believe. My way is the only way. What I'm saying is true, and that's it. No, that's a problem. That is a problem. That is a problem. So I feel like that should be no different in politics, because, him and I, the person I'm speaking to, we can disagree on politics. But what I was going to say, though, the thing that gets me most about a lot of the Trump supporters is the ones that are not willing to speak out on the idiocy or the ridiculousness of the stuff that Trump says. Case in point, when my friend and I was talking about it and going back, and I said, well, listen, one of the things that I can never, get over was the whole his inserting himself into the Central Park 5 situation. I remember that. I was in New York. I remember that time when he took out a billboard ad and was calling for the death penalty on those guys. And the problem is, one, nobody asked you to. Two, you should have just been minding your business. But okay, fine. Somebody also pointed out to me that if it was a black person and they had that kind of money, that they would, and they would have did that too. Calling out for one. So and once they said that, I was like, okay, you know what? I put myself in that situation. If I had a whole lot of money, and that happened where the jogger was raped, and the cops and everybody's coming at me and saying that these guys did, these guys did. I think, me personally, I would want to see some proof, some evidence, the kind of stuff that you have. But if I felt that I had a lot of money and I felt that, these guys were guilty, would I do the same thing? Debatable. It's possible. But here's the difference. If I was found to be wrong, I would, especially as president, he should have been the first one having them at the White House, giving them all kinds of accolades and apologies. And that's the problem. That's what the problem I have as him as a leader, definitely as a man, is that you can't admit, and to this day, he refused to admit that he was wrong. A leader, that's not a leader. That's not a person who I can follow. Because a leader knows when to make, if they made a mistake, then they own up to it. You have to be able to realize you're fallible. You surround yourself with good people, leading people. He hasn't done that either, clearly. But, Leah, what you said, a black person could have put out an ad to call out Zimmerman and countless. You're right. Yeah, you're right. That's true. A black person with a lot of money could have put out an ad on Zimmerman. But again, those are my issues as far as Trump. But my thing is, when I mentioned the Central Park 5, the person, my friend I was talking to, he agreed. He said, you're right about that. See, and that's the problem. A lot of supporters that I know would not be able to say that. That's the problem. I mentioned this before. I have a doctor who I had a conversation with a doctor, and he's a Trump supporter, and I brought up Central Park 5. And I said, yeah, what about Central Park 5? And that was so long ago. No. I don't care. First of all, it wasn't that long ago. But I don't care if it was 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 years ago. It still happened. It's just like if someone goes and murders somebody, or somebody rapes somebody, man rapes a woman, it doesn't matter if it happened 50, 60 years ago. It's still rape. Murder. They murdered somebody. It's still murder. It doesn't matter how much time has passed. It still happened. It's still murder. So these things, hey, TR, take you to the bridge. What's going on, lady? Hey, Tonica. I'm glad you can join. It still happened. So that's what I mean. Like, I have a problem with people willing to excuse. And that's the thing. My friend who I had this conversation with, he didn't excuse the dumb stuff. And the people a lot of good people who I know who support, they don't excuse that. I've said this before. I believe the reason why Trump was in office was for three main reasons. Was one, people hated Hillary that much. Two, the Russians had something to do with it. I think, they had that influence, so they swayed the stuff, that emails and all that kind of stuff that came out at that last moment and such, that October surprise and that shifted people who was on the fence, who really didn't like Hillary in the first place, who were thinking about going for her anyway. It was like, nah, you know what, it's just too much, and I'm just going to go with Trump. I'll take a chance on Trump. And three, because black folks didn't show up and show out. Again, I said it before, we Popeye's chicken sandwich sold out. What's up, T? What's going on, Tonica? Love you, lady. In the house. If black folks can go and have people sell out a chicken sandwich to where it's out of stock, come on. Black Panther pushed it to $1 billion franchise, one of the biggest, a solo black artist, black solo superhero movie. A superhero movie on top of that. We ain't talking about like Denzel in a dramatic role or something like that. This was a superhero movie, a black lead, and this movie did $1 billion. Yeah, the Russians had a lot of time because the Russians had a lot to do with that. Yeah, they did. That's what I'm saying. So the three things: the Russians, that influence, people hated Hillary, black folks didn't show up and show out. I think no, there wasn't. But I mean, and here's my thing. Tanaka says they weren't ready for a woman president. Would it have been as bad as it is now? I mean, think about it. If it had happened, if we, that looks like my cousin here. If Minister Bug is on here, say what's up. I've seen your picture online here, but yeah, if Hillary had won, you can't tell me that a lot of the civil unrest would have been happening. Well, definitely, I won't say it because it all depends on the stance of how that happened. Like, the George Floyd, the Maud Arbery's. I'm gonna lean towards maybe not that, because I think a huge part of it was that people felt emboldened to be able to come out because of Trump's rhetoric, to come out and take the law into their own hand, law and order and all that kind of nonsense. So I think that would be different. You wouldn't have a Kyle Rittenhouse picking up a gun and going and killing two people. Would those two people be dead? Would Kyle Rittenhouse been felt empowered emboldened enough to travel to Wisconsin and take up arms and go out there and kill those two people? Would he have been there? So I do believe that Trump he shoulders a lot of that blame in the form of his rhetoric and emboldened people and still making excuses for these people. And again, I've said this before. Don't be surprised if that trial goes on prior to him leaving office, if that kid wouldn't get pardoned, if some of these people getting pardons and stuff like that. So, you watch out for that. But the difference now, I believe, is that when it comes to election, one, black folks is definitely showing up and showing out. You still have those who are feeling like, my vote doesn't matter, or and you have those who vote. There are black folks who are voting for Trump. Make no mistake about that. And that was my going back to my original point. I mean, are we so far along now? Are we so far along now that where people with different policies we're despising, and because I maintain we can have different political views. Hell, that's why there's a Democrat and Republican Party. But I think moral issues are non-debatable for me, for my household, for the Overton complex. It's moral issues are non-debatable. Tonica said the Republican Senate would have blocked her like Obama. We lost the Senate, we were screwed. True. And my friend, we had a conversation like, Obama didn't do a lot for black folks. Yes and no. Now, it's funny because I've had this conversation with some Chicagoans who feel like, oh, Obama didn't do anything for black folks. I think that's kind of debatable because Obama did do some things for black folks. There's a list of stuff that he did do. But like Tanaka pointed out, he was blocked. Mitch McConnell said, it's my goal to make this a one-term president. Anything he comes to, I'm no. Wasn't even willing to work with him. Why? Because he was black? like you were not willing to, didn't want to work with him, didn't want to do anything. And I don't care that he's married to some Philippine chick or whatever, Mitch McConnell. Yo, what was your motivation? For blocking everything. I mean, look, people, parties, across the aisle, they always talk about working together, Republican, Democrats, whatever. They were just like, no. Making him one-term president? For what? Why? What's your reason? I just want to read. Trump has made history being an ignorant, narcissistic racist. He has shown that racism is still prevalent after 600 years post. As for there's a difference between racism and prejudice. Yeah, that's true. You got to see more. What else you typing? Hold on, I don't want to mess it up. Yeah, there is a difference between racism and prejudice. That's true. Matter of fact, Lee, we get the chance to elaborate on that. But what are we going back to with the initial title, if you will, of this is what will we do after the election? What do we do, if Trump wins? What do we do if Trump loses? If Trump wins, and I like to look at all possible, because let's not, the polls are real favorable right now, but let's not forget, we were all like, Hillary got it in the bag last time, and was left holding the bag. Yo, D. Melba Uma, what's going on, Danielle? What's going on? We was all like, yeah, Hillary's going to win, and that was not the case last time. So, yes, it's a more difficult time, but what happens after November 3rd? If he wins, how do we act? How do we, how are we as a people, the ones who are opposed Trump, how do we act? Now, are we leaving the country? I mean, let's be realistic. The bottom line is we're going to keep on keeping on like we've been doing. You know, we're just going to sit back and strap up and embrace for another 4 years of the chaos and all that kind of stuff, right? I believe Trump is going to be out of control because he's going to feel like he can do whatever. He would be more emboldened for his madness, and his pride would be through the roof, and he would the amount of junk that the shit that he would be talking. Hey Danielle, what's going on? The amount of nonsense that he would talk and things he would do, I think would be beyond the stratosphere. But we as a people, we will be here. I think there would be more chaos. I mean, look, like I said, let's not forget, there's people, there's black people who feel like, what? Yeah, let it burn. I always think about, there was a line for you people, as you can see, I'm always been into comic books and such, in DC, Marvel, the Avengers, Batman, Superman, all that kind of stuff. In Batman, there was a scene, there was a line in wherein the Batman, The Dark Knight. Yeah, The Dark Knight, wearing with the Joker, Heath Ledger. And when the Joker first came on the scene and he was causing the chaos that he was causing, and Bruce Wayne, aka Batman, was at the manor, and they were looking at the news and trying to figure out the Joker. And Bruce Wayne was sitting there. He was talking to Alfred, and he was like, I don't get it. What's he after? What is it? It doesn't make any sense. Some of the things he was doing, and Alfred said to him, "Well, that's just it. Some people there is no, some people there is no reason. They just want to see the world burn. They've been scarred, they've been hurt, they've been whatever. They're so angry and so hurt and so deep within them." All they want to see is the world burn. There's no rhyme or reason. And I truly believe that. I always remember that line, and I truly believe that because I've seen some people having conversations with them in posts and stuff like that. And I'm like, you know what? They just want the chaos. Like Trump. I believe Trump is an agent of chaos, without question. I think he is. And there's others, who just want to see that. There's people who like the controversy. They like let's be real. Trump has turned his presidency into a reality show. It's a reality show. He's saying something all the time, something outlandish, doing something. The day Obama gave his speech, and I mean, Obama was scorching him, dropping bombs left and right, scorching him. What happens? Trump comes out with what was it? They came out with the Russian. It was something. They came out with something the same day about how voting, them finding the FBI finding some interference. Like we didn't know this already, but they had to announce it on that same day when Obama was speaking. See what I mean? Doesn't matter about what. It's just give me something that can also divert the attention. Driving but enjoying. All right, well, don't crash. Bug, don't crash. My cousin's on here. She's talking about she's driving but enjoying the listening. Thank you so much. I'm glad that you even still taking the time to listen. Don't crash. Somebody's got to make that ambrosia that I haven't had in a long time. See, they shocked you with that one. I know you're laughing. But, Aaliyah, you are so right. What do we do if he wins? We do what you are doing. We set platforms. We make demands to the government based on being American. We demand, we the people, sitting, doing nothing. I'm reading what Aaliyah says. We demand, we the people, sitting, wait, bear with me, people. Sitting, doing nothing gets nothing done. Exactly. Living in fear gets nothing done. Nope. I am as passionate about this as you are, and I believe that we should stand up and fight for what's right as our forefathers and mothers did for civil rights. It's our turn to fight for what's right, and this time make a difference, a permanent difference on our behalf. Yes, indeed. You know what, Cyber, I just had a thought. I'm always thinking ahead. Leah, I know you are heavily into the word. My cousin, Minister Susan Robbins, you've seen her on here before. She's driving, who better not crash and better be thinking about how to get that ambrosia to me. I'm thinking one day to have a conversation with you two about the word and how it pertains to today. Like, which, from a spiritual perspective, what's your take on what's going on, where we are as a people? You know, I know my cousin. You know, I've seen her transition from into her spiritual transition. Let's say it like that. And Leah, you know, I've known you as well. So I think that would be an interesting conversation one day to do on Zoom for my podcast and such. So, ladies, let me know if you're interested. Leah's from North Carolina originally, and my cousin Susan is from Tennessee, Clarksville, Seaville. So, you know, I just thought that it just hit me, like, you know, that might be an interesting conversation that I think I would love to have, and I think people will be interested in hearing. So, give me your feedback on that. But, you know, yeah, if he wins, we're gonna do what we need to do, and we're gonna keep moving. I will say, I think, and I've said this from day one, and even more so now. I've said this from day one since when Trump won the election. Going back to my Batman metaphors, you know. I think I felt when Trump won, I felt like, wow. I felt like the Joker had just gained access to the Batmobile. I mean, to the Batcave. When him going into the White House, him winning, I felt like, wow, the Joker just took over the Batcave. That's how I felt. So, you know, what happens, and I'm tying what I'm about to say, you know, like what Leah said about, you know, we demand from our government and people and such, you know, we the people, and we demand. I'm going to tie that into what happens if he doesn't win. Because for me, we're at a point right now of no turning back. In a way, I've said it also from the beginning, I'll say it again now, he has been good. This whole thing, his whole presidency, actually, him winning was the Band-Aid being ripped, or him winning and being in, and everything that's been happening was the Band-Aid being ripped off of the wound, the scab, if you will, of racism that's always been here on this country. It was never healed. It has never healed. It's never been addressed. I don't even know if really, maybe some slight cases, a little dab of mercurochrome. Yeah, I'm taking it back there. A little bit of mercurochrome has been put on it over, you know, the years, but it's never been, you know, like where it needed surgery. You know what I mean? Like it needed to go in, like real doctors needed to go in and then tend the wound and go in and clean it out, sew it up, and let it heal. A little mercurochrome was just put on it in a Band-Aid. So therefore it got infected. You understand what I'm saying? Come on, somebody. You know, it's gotten infected. I think that was pretty good there. No, but it's gotten infected. So the Band-Aid was ripped off. And that's what we're seeing now. The infection that's grown and grown and grown underneath all this time. We need surgery. We need doctors and we need surgery now. So that's why I'm saying we can't turn back. I think what has to happen now, regardless, you know, Biden going in, Kamala going in, we hold them to the fire. We hold their feet to the fire. They have to be held accountable. I personally, and this is when me and my friend disagree, like, you know, he's like, oh, you know, Joe's old and, you know, all this kind of stuff, and do I want him talking to world leaders? Listen, I honestly, my opinion, yeah, I would rather have him talking to world leaders than Trump, because I mean, here's the thing, and this is what I'm realizing about people who like Trump for the most part. They like the image that he presents, you know, that tough, you know, and Trump standing up to, you know, these people. and making China pay their fair share. Which again, I have to agree because I agree with him standing up to China. But the only flip side to that is, yeah, while he might be in one hand standing up to China, Ivanka and all them are doing deals with China on the other hand. You see what I'm saying? So, but in any case, I feel that they like the image that he presents. Just like a lot of people voted for him outside of New York. See, in New York, people realize, the ones who are not down for Trump, they realize, yeah, Trump was always, he was never exactly what he presented. Like, just like you have the elites, I mean, the real rich ones, Bloombergs and all that kind of stuff, they never accepted Trump like that. They didn't. They never. I mean, Trump was like, I mean, Bloomberg, you could see it. He was like, Donald. He said it. Donald was a joke. Like, they didn't, behind his back and all that kind of stuff. They didn't accept him. They knew he didn't make it. Like, they knew he was handed down. He was spoiled and privileged and the whole nine. They never really accepted him. They classified him as a wannabe. So my thing is, people outside of New York like the image, the TV reality Donald Trump, The Apprentice, and they like that. I mean, listen, I watched The Apprentice. We used to watch it, and it's funny because I remember even then, like, I ain't forgot what you did about Central Park 5, but I myself was able to kind of like, well, I kind of gloss over that a little bit. And, I like the show, When a person reveals who you are, believe them. Who they are, believe them. But in any case, people, they like the persona of what he's projecting. So I get, because I've had this conversation with many of supporters, like they like, and most of the time it's the same common theme. He stands up to so-and-so, he's a businessman, he's this, that. He's a salesman, and he's been selling this stuff for a long time, and people buy it, But, again, going back to what do we do after the fact, after November 3rd, if he loses. Listen, that's not all, to me, it's not all, hey, we overcame now we're good to go and everything's going to be great. No, not at all. Not at all. We just have a calming figurehead, if you will. A calming factor. Okay? A civilized figurehead. Biden, he has experience, and that's the other thing they forget. Biden was vice president. He's done this before, and for the most part, he's done this. So it's not like they don't know who he is, and he doesn't gain that kind of respect. They know who he is. So right then and there is a difference, because right now we're not our allies and such. I mean, how are we portrayed around the world? You know what I mean? Like our standing in the world, like we was the U.S., and granted, and rightly so, a lot of people hated us and such, but a lot of people respected us. Now it's like, what are we going to do afterwards? We're going to hold them accountable. I think, especially black folks, people of color, need to hold them accountable. If Biden and Kamala wins, they need to be held accountable. And I also think that we, black folks, people of color, we are guilty of allowing a lot of this. Because, for instance, I just said this to somebody the other day, if our votes, like, they'll have you believe we're the minority. And, those who watched me and heard me before, my feelings on we the minority, I don't necessarily really believe that. I really don't. That we are so much the minority as what they try to portray. Because, again, if we were such the minority, again, that's how Obama got in office. Yeah, there was other white people who voted as well, but I don't believe that minority thing. And I think that's also, matter of fact, if you listen, especially to the supremacists, one of their fears is that they're going to become the minority. And you got to think, with all the interracial marriages, spawning interracial children, biracial children, they're not considered white. If you have if one white parent, one black parent, and a child is born, that child is not considered white. So look, I got nieces and nephews biracial. So I point that out because that's what's changing the dynamics of what's going on. So as far as white people, yeah, it's very believable that they will. Matter of fact, it was projected years ago. I remember reading and seeing how it was projected that they would become the minority in years to come. And I think it's playing out. But, I think we, again, going back to us, we're guilty of waiting for the national stage. Yeah, we're all up in arms now, voting, and everybody's rock the vote and get out and vote now because we want Trump out of office and we're doing all that. But what about the local level? We should know who, these people in Congress and the Senate and stuff like that, they didn't just come out of nowhere. They had to, start off locally in a lot of places. Judges, people, they got elected locally before they can get to the national level, the national stage. We should be paying attention to that. We should be involved. We should be paying attention. Who's who? We should know. The people are not, the president is not making laws. People in Congress, Senate, they're the ones pushing and passing laws. We should be controlling that. We, as Leah said, we the people. We should be, knowing about that. We should be involved. We should be speaking out. As much as we're speaking out about Trump and the presidency, we should have been speaking out on that. I personally don't feel, hold on now. I personally don't feel that the Democratic Party, honestly, and I said this to my friend the other day, Democratic Party, Republican Party, I don't feel either one is really doing sufficient things for the black community, people of color. Now, whose fault is that? A lot of people, black folks say, Democrats, they only coming around when it's election time. Okay. And Republicans, people are like, Republicans are not doing anything unless, you get the black Republicans, but they fall in line with a lot of, Here's the thing. I myself, and I told people this before, I grew up in a Republican household. My mother was a staunch Republican. Lakeview, where I grew up at, Leah, Lakeview was a majority Republican area, town, if you will, Republican area. I can agree with a lot of things with Republican. First of all, this is not the Republican Party of then. This is not the Republican Party of old at all. And yes, Martin Luther King and all them, back then, he came through Lakeview and stuff. They were Republicans. But it's changed. It's changed over the years, So really and truly, I can find fault with both parties. I can find good in both parties. If it wasn't for the fact that and somebody pointed this out to me about I should be an independent. What about the independent party? I just never felt that they were actually a real legitimate, I felt like if you was down with the independents, it didn't really matter too much. It really didn't, and that was just a count, a vote towards, an example. If I was an independent, then, and let's say I'm voting against Trump, then really and truly it was a vote for Trump because your independence party wasn't strong enough, wasn't, enough of people in the independent party. So, you ain't hurting him. You're actually going to help him. That's just my thinking. So, felt like, really to make a difference, and against him, it needed to be a Democrat. Of course, I was voting for Obama, And again, I said, listen, Obama wasn't infallible. He wasn't like the almighty, all his policies. No, my thing about Obama was that he was a black man who held the office with dignity and respect and tried to make a difference as best he could, made a difference as best he could, but was blocked by the Senate. That's the thing people leave out. Like, oh, yeah, he didn't do this for that. Black people, he didn't, was he, did you do your, I hate this whole do your research, but did you really check it out? Did he do what he could? Or was he blocked? Yeah, or he only did what he could because he was blocked, prevented. Again, going back to Mitch McConnell talking about you're going to be a one-term president. I saw that, heard that, read that, all of it. So, again, taking it back to what we will do after November 3rd. It's going to be, first of all, November 3rd itself is going to be, it's going to be deep. I believe that, there's still some things up Trump's sleeve that they're going to try and pull out. They're going to try and pull. I don't believe he's going to go out. If he loses, he's definitely not going to go quietly. He's not going to go out. He's going to go out kicking and screaming. He's going to try to take it to courts, and this is what kills me. And I've seen people, his supporters, fall in line with it already. Him laying the groundwork about if I lose, listen to this now. If I lose, it was fixed. Something's wrong. That's the craziness. If he loses, it was fixed. Like, so that means the only way it could be legitimate if he wins. This is what he's telling. He's telling you this. The only way he could win is the only way the election is not rigged, not fixed, there's no problems if he wins. He was laying this groundwork down when he ran against Hillary. If he loses, it's a fix. He was doing this then. It's a fixed election, it's rigged, it's all this kind of stuff, but he won. Yeah, because that's the smoke screen. That's the smoke screen. He knows what he's doing. And you got people reciting that crap already. Mail-in ballots, no, it's a problem. It's a problem with mail-in ballots, but yeah, there's a picture, a photo of him on Air Force One, him, Ivanka, and Jared. Well, Jared and Ivanka stand behind him holding up their mail-in ballots. He mailed in his ballot. So there's a problem with mail-in ballots in the Democratic states, but not where, like in Florida. No problem there. It's all good. This is what I mean. This is why I don't get where people overlook that stuff. Because he falls in line with their beliefs. Like I know there's a person who Catholic, and they're like, look, their whole thing is against abortion. Against abortion. That's their main thing. Trump falls in line with that. He's the Messiah. It doesn't matter. I have a problem with that. That you're willing to overlook everything else that he does just because he's in line with one he agrees with one of your beliefs and policies. I don't like cigarette smoke. I don't like to be around people who smoke. I don't like cigarette smoke. So what? Because of that, people who do smoke should die, or they should be in jail, or they're the scum of the earth because you smoke. You should be in jail. Come on. So, again, this is my Thinking Out Loud Thursday. I just want to share these thoughts with you. What will happen after, I think people need to give that some serious thought. What are we going to do after November 3rd? How are we as a people going to demand what we need? The respect to not talk to us mainly on Election Day. I don't have a problem with Ice Cube. I have a problem with some of the things, and it's not totally clear. It said that he blew off Kamala Harris when she tried to talk to him, and there's a whole lot of back and forth, whatever. But overall, I don't have a problem with him wanting to put together a plan and having a conversation. I'm not mad at him for talking to the Republican Party. You gotta have some kind of conversation somewhere. You gotta talk. But, at least the bottom line is he's trying to do something. I have nothing to say against somebody who's trying to do something. You can disagree or whatever, debate about how, why, and how they went about it all day long, but they are stepping forward. They're trying to do something. Nothing wrong there. hey, look, I'm trying to do something. If nothing else, get voices heard. So, um, I'm gonna tell you, I am not going to. I know November 3rd, it's gonna be hectic. It's going to be. I'm probably going to do something. Well, I'm definitely going to do my next Facebook Live. Well, I don't know if it's going to be first. I think actually, November 3rd is Tuesday, 4th is Wednesday, the 5th, November 5th, Thursday. I think then I'm going to do a YouTube Live. Because again, I'm moving this over to YouTube. So, well, I might do both. I I don't know. I definitely will be doing that Thursday because it's definitely going to be interesting to talk about and see what your thoughts are, and where we are. But definitely tune in next week for me on live. Like I said, I'm figuring it out now whether it's going to be a Facebook Live. I definitely want to do a YouTube Live. I want that to be my first YouTube Live. So that might be the case. If nothing else, or both, I don't know. But I'm gonna figure. I'll let you know. But it's definitely gonna be a live. It's gonna be a Thinking Out Loud Thursday for sure. Here we are. That's what it's gonna be. Here we are. So please tune in. Let me know if you're gonna tune in. Matter of fact, let me know in the comments below if you plan on tuning in next Thursday, whether it's on YouTube or on Facebook. Let me know if anybody would have a problem tuning into YouTube, because again, I'm making that switch at a certain point. But let me know if you will be able to be there, and that's all. Because I really want to talk. Let's all talk about where we are. Can we set that in the calendars? Can we set that as a date, people? And again, please start subscribing and liking my YouTube channel, HLeeThat'sMe TV. I'm happy to say that. HLeeThat'sMe TV. Sidebar also, I had somebody make these masks for me. Let me know what you think about these. This is different. HLeeThat'sMe. They didn't put in an apostrophe. That's what I think was my apostrophe and exclamation point. These are my masks and stuff. That's another topic. I think I'm gonna say that for next one. As to the whole thing about masks, like what you think about it and stuff. I like this one. Again, I think I need my exclamation point and the apostrophe on it. I like that, and it's not there. Let me know what you think. This one, I really like this one. This one, I think I'm gonna be wearing for a little while. This one, because you can kind of really see. Kind of got like that Matrix look. And this last one. Oh, yeah. I think this one was a little bit hard to read. Let me see. Yeah. So I don't know. But let me know what y'all think of those. See, again, I think if we had the exclamation point and the apostrophe, it would really make it stand out just a little bit more. You get that HLeeThat'sMe in there. But in any case, but then again, no, this one, I'm going backwards. Yeah, I might wear this one today. I don't know. But in any case, people, let me know. Please like, share. 6 days from today, it's going to be, yes, indeed, the election, Leah says 6 days from today, it's going to be. We will need a word no matter who wins. Yes, indeed, the country will be divided. And I want to thank you. Yeah, the country. Make no mistake, the country is going to be divided after this election. After in the coming days, because if he wins, people are going to be upset. If he loses, those people are going to be upset. So it's definitely going to be divided. I've said this before. I believe we are in the midst of a civil war. We've been, so it's going to be something. So, let's talk about it. I think that's going to be probably my real. I really want to hear what people got to say. Hear what you have to say. Let's talk next Thursday. Let's set it up next Thursday. Thinking Out Loud Thursday. Here we are. That's what it's going to be titled. Here we are, or what now? Nah, I like that better. What now? What now? That's what it's going to be. What now? So, that being said, again, please like, share, spread the word. Help me. My goal is to reach 10,000 listeners, people by next year. So please, please, please help me out. Let's get it there. I love to connect and talk to you people, and I think it's going to be great. So like, share, or subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. I'm gonna give me a T-shirt that says it. Like, share, subscribe. Like on here on Facebook. Share on here on Facebook. Subscribe on YouTube. Comment. Leave comments below. I definitely read and get back to everybody. Love you all. HLeeThat'sMe. I'm out.